Awareness does not mean it just
AA started because there was a severe issue with alcoholism. That's because nobody was dealing with their trauma other than drinking it away.
This is the Atomic Souls Podcast.
The power of caffeine.
What about alcohol? What about caffeine? What about nicotine? All the comments under the Kratom posts.
The Kratom stuff is crazy.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah. Kratom stuff's crazy. Yeah.
I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but...
Yeah, I think I talked enough with Jordan.
Yeah.
The mind alterations between those two are significantly different.
7-OH and Kratom.
Kratom and caffeine, Kratom and nicotine, 7-OH
and the impact on your life.
Like, those arguments are so dumb.
Yeah.
Is this how it normally looks when I'm sitting over there?
Yeah.
I can't see you.
I know. I
just hear voices
like
coming from the darkness.
I know. I'm just squinting at you, hoping the camera's not watching me.
That's funny.
I'll make faces. I'll be like, what?
What do we want to talk about?
Families.
Let's talk about families.
Enabling.
Families enabling.
Bullshit behavior.
That's been a topic that we've talked about a lot at home lately. So
I know.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that on the way here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not just addiction, but like enabling like laziness or bad habits or...
Yeah, we were talking about, I don't remember where the quote had come from, but they were saying, 20 years ago, 12 and 13-year-olds were babysitters. And then today, most 12 and 13-year-olds need a babysitter.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously a lot of contributing factors. But, I think a huge factor is we pamper kids so much these days that they're just weak.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Scott has a 13-year-old.
I do have a 13-year-old. I don't know that there's much difference in my 13-year-old and me at 13, but I feel like parents were a lot less helicoptery
Exactly.
Yeah.
back then. So, but I can tell you that I was into everything. I was not where I was supposed to be a lot of times. I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. If I was left alone, I was no good.
I think that's a good thing to some degree, though, because you learn your own limitations and you push boundaries. I don't think it's bad to push boundaries. I think it's bad when it turns into, self
Big
harm.
negative consequences.
But yeah, a lot of things that I did as a kid were definitely against the rules. My parents would have stopped me from doing it if they were there.
Yeah.
But it made me the man that I am today.
I think also you didn't have a social media influence that the kids have today. So they have a lot of access to, for example, self-harm is a good example.
Yeah.
Right. They're seeing stuff where people are promoting self-harm and
Promoting
those
drugs
types of things. The most self-harm we were doing is jumping bikes off of brick walls,
shooting each other with BB guns and stuff.
Like, I mean, we were not actively
Less
out of
ideas.
depression,
Yeah.
self-harming.
I do think the internet is a massive factor, especially social media. But like something we've talked about a lot is both my nephews are years into where they should have been driving already, and neither one of them even care to attempt to. I think there's multiple factors there. Yeah, they're scared
It's
to.
fear.
Like,
Because they weren't pushed to like do things or try things.
they were at my parents' house the other day at the camp, and my dad was like, they were scared to ride the 4-wheeler by themselves. It's like, I was on a 4-wheeler by myself shortly after diapers.
Yep. I remember my brother getting in trouble. He was like 12. My grandparents would let him drive their old Comet.
Right.
They had like a long gravel driveway. It was like a half mile long, and he was like cutting, fishtails down the gravel and all that stuff. And they let him drive up and down to get the practice in, because that's what we did at 12 or 13. But he would get in trouble for going too fast or whatever. Yeah.
But then by
I would
16, you're ready to get your license and drive on the road.
Yeah. But I think there's two factors there. Like, I think my sister's a phenomenal mother, but she's like extremely loving, extremely caring. If there's any little bit of pain, she's taking that away from them so they don't get hurt. and it's like doesn't really give them the opportunity to kind of
It's over.
become men.
Yeah.
And so like,
Or become independent.
So what do you
adults.
think caused that shift from our parents to our generation of being parents?
I think life's so easy these days.
I think it's information and fear because there's so much more information. So parents are more fearful.
I don't think that anything's, I kind of live in that idea too. Like probably the same stuff's been happening in the world our whole lives, but because we have so much information, it feels like it's 1,000 times more.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot scarier to these young parents.
Maybe so.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
I think too, Gen X particular, like, was so ignored that Gen X parents are a little overcompensating. And so the Gen Z people are like babied and coddled a little too much. So then it's like any ounce of like, not all of them, but like a lot of them, like any ounce of uncomfortability, they're quitting their job, they're moving back home,
Yeah.
like they're not going to get their driver's license, they're going to quit school. Like, and that's just some of them. I do think some Gen X went really healthy with it, but a lot of people like Gen Z just like jumps jobs. It's like, why is that okay?
Yeah, they don't want any discomfort. They don't take constructive criticism well. And it's, again, there's outliers, but that's the majority.
I was talking to Dean about this concept of like overshooting. And I think that is like the parents of those individuals overshot comforting their kid.
Yeah.
And didn't allow them to be like uncomfortable. And like there's a healthy like
I could see that.
there's healthy behaviors for like certain things. And
but
so yeah.
but then there's some things that have been kind of a positive, like for this generation of kids, like way less of them are drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Way less of them are vaping or smoking. Like they're as young teens. Like the kids are not as into. Like
They're not as rebellious.
I was buying Marlboro Reds at 12 years old. Like
I was too.
Because there's no one telling them no. They're just making them fearful of these things.
Yeah.
They're just scared of everything.
Yeah.
So they're not going to try it. So it's a positive.
Yeah,
But then they're also not
some of it's
trying
like
new
that. And,
things.
and like my kid, she's seen us all be in recovery her whole life and everything. So she's like hyper aware of that. You don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And I think the biggest thing we got to worry about is puberty and that level of
General
stuff.
emotions that change. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that on the boat a lot with new deckhands and
Puberty
stuff.
in young girls.
No, but the issue of like the only thing that's really a struggle for them is like sexuality.
Yeah.
Like they've never done a drug before. A lot of them have never even drank alcohol before. They don't smoke cigarettes. They don't even drink coffee.
Boat guys?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I see that a lot
weird,
too
yeah.
with the
Yeah.
younger
Yeah.
crowd. Like, y'all don't drink coffee? Like,
Yeah, they don't even.
Yeah, Angelique won't drink coffee. She's like, I'm not that old.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, I started at like 16.
But
I'm like,
then-
what are you talking about?
I went to Waffle House with 3 guys in the recovery space.
Yeah.
We all went to Waffle House. We're all just got up, you know, and ready to eat some breakfast. And they were taking a little time, and the waitress, they were kind of passing us by, and I kind of started getting a little annoyed because I hadn't had my coffee yet. And I was like, ma'am, could we at least get our coffee?
Yeah.
And then one by all 3 of them, I don't drink coffee. Because she looked at me and she said, so it's just you.
Yeah,
I need my coffee.
I need coffee.
almost like as far as on the boats, almost no deck hands that I've seen. Or we have Will and too, but anybody under 30, they don't drink coffee.
It's crazy.
So weird.
Yeah. We had one guy, we were talking the other day, he's never drank alcohol, he's never smoked a cigarette, never done any drug, doesn't drink coffee. I'm like, you a fucking Mormon? Like, what's going on here? But then you get into the topic. Like,
They do more drugs and coffee and all the things than that guy.
But wait, what made me think of it when you're talking about puberty and stuff is like you get on the topic of like sexuality and that stuff. And the stuff that they're doing, I'm like, you crazy. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Stuff that you didn't figure out until you were way later in life.
Well, then like toys and all this stuff. And I'm like, brother, just spit on it. What are you doing? But I think that's exposure to online. They have all this information online of like, hey, you do all these things and they're bad for you for X, Y, and Z. But this thing's really, really fun.
Yeah.
And so it's
you
like,
get it on Amazon.
right. And so it's like our generation, the big issue is drugs and alcohol and like all substance abuse. But the new generation, like that kind of seems to be their
gender and sexuality.
Gender and sexuality is like a huge topic to them.
Yeah.
It's crazy how huge that topic is today, because we didn't even consider that stuff when I was growing up. Like that just wasn't in the age range of
right.
I mean, you might come across Dad's Playboy or something like that, right? But I mean, that's literally about it. You know, that conversation was not happening just that outwardly at that age.
Yeah.
You know.
And now by the time they graduate high school, they're bored with just stereotypical things.
Yeah. I think that's like drugs and alcohol. A lot of people our age got bored with, average drinking.
They start going to order stuff.
Yeah. So I think it's the same kind of pattern of addiction, just separate and different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think throughout all of the generations, there's a huge identity crisis. Like, who am I? What do I do? And then I think even the younger generations, there's so much getting automated. It's like those like entry-level jobs you don't get to test out anymore, or you don't have to because mom and dad take care of you, or you can get a decent virtual job. And so there's a lot of identity crisis, I think, going on, where for the younger crowd, it's that they don't have to enter the workforce. For the older crowd, it's that they entered so young that they don't actually know what they want to do and like to do.
Yeah, I think that knowing what you want to do was something that was never taught to me as a kid. And it's now everybody's like, oh, you got to chase your dream. And I was watching some statistics the other day, and they were saying the number one thing that people say they want to do graduating high school is be an influencer or a YouTuber, which is just another influencer. And it's like when I was graduating high school, you wanted to be an engineer or a police officer or like some type of, trade or doctor or something. And I think trying to find that identity, it's just because they see everybody online doing these things, whether they're successful or not.
I don't know. I think the influencer is the new rock star, right?
Yeah.
We want to be rock stars. That was kind of our dream.
It's a more accessible
But it's a more accessible rock star.
Is what people
now
think.
It looks like everybody's a rock star except you.
Correct.
To where back in the day, like, I wanted to be a rock star, but I knew there was like 5 that I could name.
Right. But
it was less accessible.
But I had some kids in my high school years that got really close to making it all the way and got, I had a buddy that made it on the Bill and Ted's, soundtrack and all that stuff. And so it was kind of like, maybe if you learned and you were just shredding on guitar, you could get there, and it was a cool dream to have. But
like
it wasn't like you could just go buy all this equipment and start your own thing and try to collect followers and all that stuff. It was harder. So you were more realistic, but man, everybody's an influencer now.
Yeah. You couldn't fake it the same either. Like you needed legitimate talent to be in music.
Now you can fake it if you have enough money.
Milli Vanilli faked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did a pretty good job at it for a while.
Okay.
I think, millennial Gen Z, the ego starts to be like, oh, well, everyone wants to know what I do, or I am so influential. And it's like, really, we need more people to say, no, you're not.
Do you think that that's what it is, though? Or do you think that it's a desperation for attention because they are so disconnected? It's kind of like the double-edged sword of social media. Yeah. We're so connected online that nobody's actually connected physically
I think
anymore.
It's multiple layers. I think it's probably both. Like, you got parents that are telling you, be anything, do anything. Yeah, be an influencer, do it. When they should be saying, like, you're not that interesting. Like, go do something else. Well,
and then it's ironic that we talk about that while we're sitting here doing this. But
we've been told, like, stop doing a podcast.
It's also important to, like, this is not what we do.
Yeah,
this is
we don't make money off of this.
This is something we get to do because of what we do, and it's fun for us, and you get to talk about cool topics, and if people want to chime in, they can, but it's not what we're hanging our hat on, surviving on.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the difference is if you have the opportunity to do this, by all means do it. Somebody might get something from it. But if you're putting all your chips into that and saying, this is what I'm going to do, it might not be the best strategy.
Well, usually if it's all you're doing, you'll see these people get like burnt out or doing really weird things or going into porn. It's like they have to go extremes to like keep the attention.
Yeah.
And so it's like, is that like, how is that helping you? How is that helping people? Like,
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, that ship has almost sailed. Like it's so hard to get in now. It's everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing the same thing. People are literally getting money off of copying somebody else that was getting money, and that can only trickle so far. Like how many times can you?
Yeah. Do something silly.
Half of my feed now on TikTok is people watching other people's TikToks.
Yeah, that is the new thing. They're like critiquing the other person's TikTok.
So useless in your life that all you can do is create a video watching somebody else's video.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, quit doing it. It sucks.
I literally thought about doing that this week.
That's dumb.
Because, I see people doing the fitness. They're like critiquing someone's like fitness video. And I was like, oh, I should do that with like therapy. Like,
that's
critiquing
different.
Therapy videos.
If you're providing value, I think that's acceptable. But there's a lot of videos on my feed anyway. Our algorithms are very different. Where it's literally somebody just watching another video and making faces while they watch it.
Oh, I've seen
and that's
those.
it. There's no value add at all.
It's like, it's almost like they're imitating connection. It's like you're watching it together.
That's exactly what it is. That's why I said it. I think for the generation coming up, I don't think it has to do with them thinking they're so interesting. I think they're genuinely just trying to find somebody to connect with.
Yeah.
Because they're so isolated in this digital environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's kind of like Xbox, like kids that got stuck on Xbox, or back even before our kids. I don't know if y'all even know what this is, but EverQuest.
I played the shit out of EverQuest.
That was like a whole world, and that was like, that's all. Like nobody left their house. That was kind of the beginning of never leaving your house and having friends.
World of Warcraft came out and it consumed my life.
Yeah,
he was like addicted to it when we first met.
I mean, I was all in on EverQuest for a long time.
I would do 20 hours a day, 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, and you got this whole group.
I had no idea.
You all know each other, but you couldn't tell. You know what their character looks like, but you don't know what they look like.
Well, when we got older and we all had money and stuff, we actually started doing like, hey, we're all going to go down to the beach this weekend, and you got a guild of 50 people. 30 of us would show up.
That's crazy.
And actually, Sean, I met playing WoW West.
That's how we got on the boat.
That's how I ended up on the boats. I met a guy playing WoW, and then the craziest circumstance ever, he was next door neighbors to my best friend.
Wild.
Like literally, we're like, what do you mean you live in Livingston? And he's like, yeah, I live in Livingston. He's like, what street? And him and my buddy are, messaging back and forth. He's like, which house? And he's Sean's like, this is a weird line of question, brother. He's like, step outside real quick. And they're waving at each other across the fence. They were playing WoW together, 50 foot away from each other.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, we all became really good friends, and that's how I ended up working on boats, as he was a captain of a boat. Yeah. And on boats, you have so much downtime. When we had first got married, I played a bunch because we didn't have any money. Yeah. So like, what other form of entertainment you're going to get for $15 a month? Yeah. And it would connect you with people. You felt like you had a community when you're out there with nobody. But yeah, I think that's what it is as we move into digital space more and more and more. We have so much opportunity for connection that we don't have any real connection.
Yeah, I keep wondering when the actual Ready Player One world is going to happen.
We're getting dang close, I think.
It's pretty close. The virtual reality. There's going to need to be like a COVID or something that forces us into the VR headsets, like it did telehealth.
Yeah.
Like nobody liked telehealth and Zoom.
They tried.
Until COVID.
Yeah. They tried to get the VR headsets rolling. I think we got out too fast. They started to start doing the VR worlds, and then everybody got out of COVID and they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the next pandemic that will require the VR headset?
Yeah. The technology wasn't quite there yet.
I don't know how you require it.
It was not good.
The meta glasses, I think, are that step. Like they're going to start having like screens on those or something.
But then, I mean, there's something about being in a room with somebody that you just don't get virtually. Like we talk to each other on the phone almost every single day. But if we go 2 weeks without talking to each other, I feel like kind of get that reunited buzz when we show up at the office together.
Yeah, for sure.
The energy's higher.
Right. I'm not a scientist that can explain that, but there's definitely something that happens.
Spiritual thing, like on a soul level, like you need like the energy of people around you.
I am not a good phone person. I don't want to sit and talk to you for a long period of time.
No, you're like, all right, bye.
Yeah, and it's like, where do I cut this conversation off? Right? It's like, okay, I'm done. All the information has been passed. Time to go. All right, bye.
Right.
And all right,
like,
and if I say bye, the conversation's over because I'm hitting the
hanging
button.
up.
Yeah.
There's no like, well, how are you?
And then doing stuff that's just about relationship building. You're not trying to accomplish something. I talk about this with people a lot. They're like, oh, it must be awesome. You work with your wife. Y'all get to spend every moment together. It's like, we're next to each other all the time. We're not spending time together. It's so
energy.
different.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, today I was like hanging out with Micah, just like chit-chatting about like spirituality and stuff. I was like, this is like what he needs, like, like feel connected and like deeper conversations, and then just like, how are the numbers?
Right. Yeah, it's hard too, because we are trying to accomplish something together.
It hurts my efficiency brain. I'm like, this feels very inefficient and very non-productive, but I know it is productive.
It is. It is. Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking earlier with the AI stuff inside of the EHR. It's like there's no way that you can attribute a tangible profit gain from that cost allocation, but it does help with burnout and stuff like that, and so it is a positive bonus.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I do that costs money makes me cringe. But then I have to look at the human cost that I am bringing into it. And that, like, I was telling you, like, with the alumni thing that I'm doing, like, it's a cost to it that I don't really want to have to pay. But I know that we need to really have a robust product, community, connection with our group there, because that's what we're all about, is promoting this, feel of family, this feel of connection. It starts when they get to the facility, and then they, move beyond, and we kind of don't have that piece together. So there's a value there for the human value that outweighs what it's going to cost. And then the staff burnout on the AI component, speeding up the notes and the documentation piece, like, one, it helps the staff burn out, but two, it also helps the patients get more time with the clinicians, right? And that's important.
Yeah, we were chatting with Trey yesterday, and he said something that really stuck with me.
He's our lawyer friend.
What's that?
I was telling him who that is.
Oh, our lawyer friend that was on yesterday. But he's a personal injury attorney, and we were kind of talking about just like the mentality around that, because there's some bad actors that kind of have that ambulance chaser situation. And with him, he's like, look, I don't want to do this. Like, I would prefer to not need to represent people. I just know that there are people that need representing. He's like, when I walk into a store and like the mat's kind of ruffled a little bit at the door where it could be a tripping hazard, I spread that out, make sure nobody gets hurt by it. Like, I'm not looking for people to get hurt. The issue is that people they do get hurt, and they need somebody to represent them effectively. And I resonated with that, because like, I would love for nobody to do drugs and nobody to have mental health issues. And I do everything in my power to make sure that people don't have to struggle with that. But the reality is they do. Yeah. Like, I'm not chasing down addicts like, oh, keep doing these drugs so you can come do treatments with me. No, I'm trying to get them away from there. If we can work ourselves out of a job, that would be the best thing ever. I would love to go do something else. But that's the reality that we live in, is that people need help.
Absolutely.
High quality help, because there are places that do that.
Yeah, there are places
feed people drugs.
There's bad actors. Exactly.
So there needs to be more good actors raising the standard and paving the way for that. And I think people see that. Like, even someone we had recently graduate, that was what they were like gushing to me their last week, and they were just like, I've been to a lot of places, and she said, I had an imbecile therapist the last place I was at. And she's like, that's a strong word. I was like, it's fair. Some places. And she like came in judging us and was like nervous, like guarded, all that, withdrawn, kind of showing up late, like having all these kind of things. But we just kept with her, and we kept, like showing her like the quality that we are, and like how we actually care. So by the end of her time here, she's gushing to me about this place. Like, both of us tearing up, talking about her progress. She's done trauma work. Like, it's so cool to see the actual like progress, and gotta take my head out the weeds sometimes and talk to people who are going through it.
And that's the value of building out robust alumni programs too, is truly we're trying to develop community. I think that's the pandemic that we face, is a pandemic of loneliness. Like, people are so isolated today. I keep coming back to that with, the digital world that we live in, but it's true. The biggest thing that people are struggling with is depression and anxiety. That stems from loneliness.
Yeah, and the substance use is a maladaptive coping skill.
Yeah.
Which usually if you take it away and start looking at it, it's like, oh, like, where does that come from? It's usually like some kind of family of origin, community issues. And so fixing all of that or working through it and getting into a healthy community is really game changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited for our alumni. They have alumni night this week, next week. Yeah.
I don't know. They're setting up all kinds of big shit out there right now.
It might be tonight. They're doing fitness group and alumni.
Yeah,
They had some extra food.
They had a fruit bowl.
Okay, yeah, they're doing alumni and fitness group tonight.
Okay. Yeah. We walked out there.
Double
Scott's
dip.
like,
We just stepped it up on the snacks. Like, we got pinwheels out here and
what do you
That's
mean we
a-
don't have
that's
money? Here's
for
the money right
alumni.
here.
fruit trays. And,
Scott's like, why are we buying all this? No, it's alumni night.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, we had a good alumni for how long we've been open. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's the important thing is, about developing the alumni. Like, I'm having to backpedal. I've got 9 years of alumni that, while some stay in contact and we do alumni events and stuff, the interaction is incomplete. So, we've probably got like 3,000-ish alumni out there.
That's cool.
And being, for my inpatient stuff, being in Mississippi, it's already very spread out and rural. So it's important to have that. And we're just, we've been kind of staggering through it pretty well, but not well enough. So that's, I'm kind of trying to step into that. And we're doing a big crawfish boil and, stuff like that in the next few weeks. So, alumni engagement not only lets them know you're still here if they're struggling, but lets you applaud them for their successes and stuff. And we still have alumni showing back up to our big event that we do in October that are, 7, 8, 9 years sober. That's cool. Showing still up to that thing because they're proud of it, And they need to know we're proud of them and we're still here, and
they have a lot to offer too.
Getting involved with the new guys and letting the guys that got 1 year, even the guys that are showing up with 1 year, seeing the guy that has 9 years show up is
huge.
Big.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I feel like around 1-2 years you start to go. Do I really
sometimes,
want this?
Sometimes,
or like 5 years, there's like those marks.
Right. I say it all the time. Like in the rooms of the 12-step rooms, you'll have these weird gaps where after 5 years you don't see anybody, and then you got all the way up to 5 years. There's a big group, and then there's this weird 5 to 10 year gap, and then there's the older group that's in there that's been in there forever.
Yeah.
But it fizzles at some point, so the amount of engagement's important for the community.
Yeah, the old timers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see our alumni. Lori and I are meeting today to talk more about family involvement as well, but really trying to focus on building out that community. Like, how do alumni buddy up with current clients, and how do we bring in family more and make it, even more solidified in the process of what we're doing. So it's less siloed and less just like the client is the client, like bring in the whole family, bring in the alumni if they're buddies, like, have more foundational support from the start.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. Even like family, maybe like a family alumni month, I don't know, once a quarter, instead of just the current client family, bring in the alumni family. We had an alumni share their last month for the family night. An alumni came in who's about to get 1 year, I think, and shared their story. And their parents actually came to hear them.
Cool.
I was like, oh, I love that there's an alumni family with their alumni. I've been knowing y'all for a year. That's crazy.
That's super
awesome.
cool.
It was so cool. So I'm like, we need more of that energy because that was really cool.
Yeah. It's
Maybe have their parents speak.
I think it's something that we think about a lot, but it's difficult to implement, of how to make people that aren't currently in the program really comfortable with the space and just like being here to hang out for those types of things.
Yeah.
I don't know but that comes with the regular contact, right?
Yeah.
And
Which we are
if you're
increasing.
regularly contacting, it's not as uncomfortable because you're constantly talking to these people.
Sure.
You're still
And so when
connected.
it's time to come in, even if we're not really connecting with the family on a regular basis, they're still going to, like, if that person's really engaged with us, that family's still going to be really, connected to, like, this was a successful place for them and want to come and participate a little bit. So I think constant contact's hugely important.
We should do a family Discord.
Well, yes and no. I'm really curious to see how the app plays out, because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that type of stuff inside of the app, and it not take so much emphasis on staff. That's the issue with Discord. That's what I had said in the beginning with you and Lori. Like, look, I'm down to do it. I said, but you have to have community managers, and right now that's not a staff position.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
There's like bots you can do to like check in, but they're not
Right, but if the whole point is to make human connection, supplementing humans with AI is probably not the move.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind guinea pigging it.
We have some active alumni. It's pretty cool on the Discord.
Yeah, we do. No, absolutely, we do.
And they ask questions. They check in with each other. So
I think those are the people that you kind of promote into like a community manager position.
I think they are doing like volunteer, like alumni leadership. Yeah.
Yep.
But I think a family one might be an interesting concept.
Yeah, like a peer support family.
For families, yeah. Like a family Discord.
I think that there's an opportunity for that within the app.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way, like, they can ask questions or, like, like...
This app is crazy robust.
What's the app?
Are we...
We're not talking about it publicly yet. But
Okay, y'all haven't even told me about it.
fun stuff coming.
It's
Okay, I'm like, I
But
thought you were talking about the Monday
conversation.
I just signed up with them, and I'm not going to tout them until we
don't tell
have
our
something to
secrets.
tout.
Yeah.
I mean,
Extra Mile is going to guinea pig an app.
it will be an Extra Mile.
Oh, yeah, play with your money.
It'll be an Extra Mile branded app.
Yeah, and if it works out well, we'll do a Aqua Recovery one. I think it's going to work out well. I really do have high hopes for it.
I saw 10 minutes of it, and I was like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I don't care what platform it's on, but I just think that community building, that is...
It's on your favorite platform.
That's why y'all haven't told me. Anyways, I do care what platform it's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's
community
exclusively
building
on that.
is important.
Yeah.
I think we do more family work than most places, but I think we could do more. And I think having an app of some kind to connect the family would be really cool.
It's coming.
Cool.
Yeah. I think you have a lot of ideas that are all like, we should do this and this and this and this and this.
I do.
And then it falls on my plate. It's like, okay, how do we efficiently do all these things together? Because you cannot effectively do it if you can't
Without it
efficiently.
costing $1 million.
Exactly. Well,
got
and
lots of
then
ideas.
the effort value cost too.
Yeah.
It's like, again, like with the Discord stuff, somebody's got to manage those accounts and stuff.
Yeah, right now me and Lori kind of do it.
Exactly. You and Laura need to not do it.
Yeah.
So great ideas, but again, it's got to funnel through that efficiency model.
That's why we work so good together. And that's why I can't work for other people. I got too many ideas with no follow through.
You just work with me.
There you go.
How did we get all the way to here from parenting and family?
Family involvement with the app.
Family involvement. You're absolutely right.
I think, and I'm going to meet with Lori to talk about
let's talk about
beef that up.
We talked about family involvement. We kind of started off, we were going to talk about enabling.
Family enabling.
What about the other end of the spectrum?
I have to get a third camera.
Yeah.
And a light.
And a light.
I like being the phantom.
The only thing I can see is your teeth.
It's good.
When you smile.
At least they're not black. The other side of that spectrum, which we deal with sometimes, is where they feel they've been told they need to set boundaries, and then they're setting improper boundaries. They're setting boundaries in the wrong place.
They're overshooting.
They're like, boundary. Oh, well, they're on their own. Like, no, they're asking for help now, and this is where we got to step into helping.
We had that happen recently.
It happens all the time.
Hey, like, they did it even before we talked to them. Client wasn't making progress, and we were about to suggest sober living, and instead they just kicked the kid out, and then the kid had to go back to wherever he was living previous. And I was like, well, that's not helping.
Yeah,
he had to quit
so
the program.
hard. And I mean,
we understand where you're coming from, but like, no,
it's hard because they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Right. And then somebody's gotten in their ear, right, and told them that they need to really be setting boundaries, which is true.
Well,
but the boundaries come.
A different sibling was using harder drugs, and that's where that came from, which is fair. This kid was not using hard drugs. I was like, come on.
Yeah, but there are boundaries, right? I am not willing to allow you to continue using and live in my house. If you've got leverage, there's leverage to use. But it's when they are like,
it's the
at that place of needing the help that you start just saying, nope, I'm just going to, we're not going to do anything. Or I hear this all the time. They're a grown up. They're grown. Yeah. They make their own decisions. Well, they live at your house.
Right. They're on your insurance.
They're eating your groceries.
Yeah.
That's your answer?
Right.
Yeah, they go from one extreme to the other, like coddling and enabling them. Then when one thing goes wrong, get the fuck out of here. Like,
it's tough.
Find a middle ground.
I've had to do a lot of coaching with parents around that stuff and having some hard conversations and being kind of, pretty blunt about some of those things. That's not helpful. Right.
Yeah.
I was just people thinking, pay for the stuff that's helping them as long as they're making progress, and continue to have those boundaries.
But even outside of paying, right? It's
supporting.
A lot of times it is something they need to pay for or something they need to support. And I'm like, you've been supporting them while they're using all this time, and now you don't want to support this.
Yeah.
Right? That makes no sense. Right. That's the insanity that has come up. But it's also just not encouraging them or not going and having a conversation with them because you're exhausted from their behavior. Well, they're exhausted too, and it's time for them to get that help. This is where they need that love.
The healthy communication.
Maybe it would be beneficial for us to produce some materials or maybe a coaching course or something that parents can have access to that aren't a part of our program already.
Yeah.
Just some free, publicly available content.
Lori was on my list to talk about family engagement and healthy family boundaries, etc.
I don't know how much participation you get, but with the act of families that you could at least reach with that and offer, come have a conversation with us and maybe present to families of people that are still struggling or that are struggling while they're trying to get well or whatever to...
Well, I could throw it in a SEO strategy because we get a pretty good bit of organic engagement online. And so that way, families that maybe aren't ready to make a move with treatment, they can at least have some access to some beneficial material.
Or as someone's entering the program, give it to the family. Here,
both.
These videos are really helpful.
I'd say we do both, not just or.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think... For us, we can justify it on a marketing cost because it's a lead acquisition opportunity. Then some people legitimately don't need to come to treatment here, but they need access to this type of content.
I do think there's a gap in care coming when it comes to families. A lot of places just do a once
It's hard to
quarter.
monetize.
Yeah, it's hard to monetize. And it's usually an afterthought or it's, not helpful.
Yeah.
Basic information, or it's like punitive or like argumentative, like let's hash everything out right now. Like it's
Yeah.
I have lots of thoughts about that.
Well, the issue is business model, the monetization opportunity. Like, we look at things very different than a lot of people. I'm not even saying that they're all bad players. It's just in general, if you take an accounting guy or biz dev guy, they're going to look at what is monetizable, what's got the highest billable codes for insurance.
Yeah.
Family services ain't on there.
Family work gets paid
Yeah.
very little.
Well,
or unpaid.
I think that's where you set yourself apart in general is, we have to do stuff that's not necessarily monetizable, right? Like,
provide value.
If everything's on the monetized side and that's how you think, you've lost the attention to the patient.
100%.
And so that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. Like, a lot of the things I do in everything I do is backwards compared to the way some people are making money in the industry. But it's like, this is what I am led to feel is the right thing to do. And I might be doing extra work over here, but I think that work's valuable.
I think in the long run, it's beneficial too. I think a lot of people miss the target of efficiency and scalability because they're looking for short-term revenue.
Yeah, but I also think that just like Rachel said, when you got a client that leaves and says, how great it was, right? Or how different it was, I think it's because, they've been to a bunch of churned through a mill of places that were kind of phoning it in. Yeah. Doing the basics to get paid on or whatever. And so the extras or the extra connection, the extra time, the extra sensitivity, the extra fun, the extra all these things that you try to present that cost us that we don't get a return on financially, right? Produce that feeling of like, I went to a special place. I went to a place where they felt like I was special.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. Like, that is such a good payoff for me to have people leave and say, I've never heard it like this before. I've never experienced it like this before. And I hear that a lot.
We've got a lot of alumni referrals recently.
Yeah, we have.
That's good.
So cool.
Well, it's hugely beneficial too. Like exactly what you just said. That is the business benefit is like, you have brand ambassadors at that point that are speaking highly of you. And that's something that you can't buy.
Yeah.
Like,
because
you have to produce that.
Because we're finding that balance between like stabilizing, which is what most places do, and deep diving into the trauma. And so people are finding actual healing, and they're like, that's blowing my mind.
Yeah, and I think you get caught up like where people will say, well, you can't do, that type of therapy in an IOP setting, or you can't do that in a residential setting, and it's simply not true.
Right.
You just have to know how to do it correctly.
And if you are adept at your modality, you know where you can go and how to do that correctly, and then move them into the next phase and be able to get them down the road. And I find the people that say those types of things are just mad because they're not doing enough at their facility, right? Like, you're not doing enough at your facility.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that towards any specific place.
Or they're
it's
not
just in general.
investing in their clinical team to be able to do that quality of work.
And I think with BD reps, it just becomes something they say to fend off, like, when somebody asks them, well, this place says they do really good trauma therapy, and they're like, well, you can't really do EMDR in a short amount of time. Like,
that was the narrative that EMDR coaches would tell you.
But it's a misunderstanding of the depth of EMDR. And there are components of EMDR that we're not going to jump into right off the bat, and you're not going to go dredging up a bunch of trauma and then pass this person on. But there's like, EMDR is so robust. Like, people have a very limited understanding of what that therapy is and what components there are that from day one, you start incorporating the concept.
Yeah.
Right. And from my understanding, not a clinician, but from my understanding, the brain will kind of get to a place where it will tell you when it's ready. Mm-hmm. And then we can pursue, right? And that's...
You do a lot of coping and grounding skills before you even get into the trauma work. And then you test it out with like less intense traumas and see how that goes. Mm-hmm. And even because I'm trained in EMDR, and even my training was like, don't do this on complex cases. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing here then? Mm-hmm. But then I started using it on clients, me and some other clinicians in Austin, on clients who are dissociative. And they say, don't do that. You can't do that. It doesn't work on them. It's working. It just takes longer. It's not immediate like someone who's been in a car accident.
Right.
That's like 8 sessions max sometimes for those people. We had one person, 1 session, they were like, oh, I feel better. I'm like, that's great. It's crazy. We actually had 2 sessions because we were like, wait, are you sure?
Yeah.
But complex clients, I think a lot of therapists are scared of it, or they're not trained because the trainers aren't training complex EMDR.
Right.
They're training basic EMDR, which helps most of the population.
A lot of their models are very different than ours too. Like a lot of it's like in residential treatment, you're staying for 60 or 90 days and that's a wrap. I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah.
To where with us being solely IOP and solely outpatient, we set up in a way, it's kind of twofold here. We get fantastic clients because you got to want to be here. Mm-hmm. You got to drive over here, or being sober living that's bringing you over here. Yeah, you're not stuck here. You're opting in every single day that you come, which I think is awesome because we're helping people that want help.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that is not that we want them to stay indefinitely, but they can. Like if they do 90 days with us and they're like, hey, I want to step down to OP. I'd still need a little extra help. Cool. We can do another 30, 60, 90 days there. Yeah. Hey, I feel like I don't need groups anymore, but I really love my relationship with my therapist. Well, cool. We can move you into individuals with your therapist. Not a lot of places are able to do that. So they don't get to see the timeline of 6 months to a year with a client. They see 90 days and they say, yeah, my 90-day window, it didn't work. And you're right, because ethical. It takes 6 months.
Well, it's not ethical to start EMDR in that 30 days. Right. If you're only going to see someone for 30 days, don't fucking do EMDR.
Exactly.
But focus on DBT.
My point is that there are components, like, for example, I'll just use the extra mile as an example. It's centered around the concepts of EMDR.
You can start the theory and you can start,
Correct.
Right.
You can start the stabilizing, because there's a lot of stabilizing. The first 2 phases of EMDR are just stabilizing. Yeah. And like coping skills.
Yeah. And we're doing, you're doing a lot of tappings and all the stuff and learning to kind of, do those things, but we're not doing that.
Shifting states.
Yeah. Like all that stuff,
Because you can practice just shifting from anger to joy. Mm-hmm. Sadness to happy. You can practice doing that.
I think you change your facial expression, talk about something with your eyes closed, talk about it looking over here. All these neat little things that
those are coping skills.
Yeah.
They're not diving into trauma, but they're just EMDR based.
But it introduces them into I can get better. Yeah. And so when it's time for them to graduate, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. You can do this work and it is that work. It's just we haven't gotten off the cliff yet. Right.
Yeah.
And that is something that needs to be with somebody you can be with as long as it's going to take. And that's the difference. And I just think people either phrase it wrong when they're saying, you can't do that, or don't understand it themselves. Yeah. They're just parroting something they've heard.
I think that's huge, though, because the biggest part of EMDR is that showing people how to shift their emotional state. Because you get lots of clients that are like, oh, I'm going to cry forever. I'm going to just feel angry for get lost in the mix, because that's what they used to tell people is if you do trauma work, you're going to get stuck there. You're going to re-traumatize. And they don't give the solution. Well, the solution is that we actually have power to shift. We can shift our emotional state. We have to teach people how to do that. And that is key for people to buy into EMDR. They practice it and they go, oh, it worked.
It's great. I mean, it's kind of like a little voodoo
kind
of stuff,
It's cool,
I think there's
power.
There's a lot of misinformation on it, and people with big platforms that are misinforming on it. I actually saw the exact topic that you just said on a Rogan episode. He had a therapist on. I can't remember who exactly she was.
I'll critique Rogan.
But anyway, yeah, she was talking about how, a lot of these problems didn't exist before people started going to therapy because they get stuck in this trauma loop where they just are constantly dealing with their trauma. I was like, yeah, that's because it's a shitty therapist.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but that she entirely wrong. And I don't know what, I hadn't seen that episode of Rogan. And,
it was bad. It pissed me
got
off.
Rogan,
feelings about
if
it.
you happen across this, I'm going to talk about the therapist, not you, but whoever that therapist was or whoever he had on, I mean, he and to be fair to him, like he'll bring anybody on that wants to talk about whatever. I think he does a good job of engaging people and letting them say what they want to say.
Right.
However, that statement where a lot of these things didn't exist until people started going to therapy, a lot of these things are getting stuffed down. And causing other kinds of problems. A lot of these things were coming out as rage, and people were abusing their spouses and things like this. This stuff was happening. So that's a BS.
Awareness does not mean it just started.
AA started because there was a severe issue with alcoholism. That's because nobody was dealing with their trauma other than drinking it away.
Yeah, they're stuffing it down, drinking, abusing, whoever, whatever.
Yeah.
But, the thing is, the trauma is been there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? And the trauma is what makes you not be able to stop drinking and drugging, right? The trauma is why drugs and alcohol latched onto me.
Yeah.
So, your argument is stupid.
That's crazy a therapist said that.
Yeah. Not all therapists are smart.
Well, I do hear people say, no, I agree. We agree on that. And they're not all good.